Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today I'm coming to you with another fleet build, and I'm going to be doing a Constantine-based build, and this is going to be mostly for fun, but I wanted to use some things that aren't commonly seen, at least in my area, and some things I don't normally do. Constantine isn't particularly seen as being particularly great in the meta right now, so I figured we'd have some fun with him, see if we can make him partially effective, and see if we can win some games. Alright, so I'm going to use him on an interdictor because the whole idea with Constantine is we're going to slow people down. And I wanted to figure out how could I take advantage of that really good. I'm not only going to slow people down, but I might even speed people up if I need to. I don't want that though. I'm going to use these two. So I'm going to use a G8 experimental projector to be able to slow people down even more with Constantine. Now I have two different ways to slow people down. I don't really need to go with the Phylons also, but I've also got grab shift reroute, which is going to help me with objective play. And I think the idea here is I want to be able to slow play a build and keep people from getting to the objectives, so that slowing them down will also help me make sure I get my shots on them and also make sure that they stay away from the objectives. So that's kind of the idea. So I'm going to pick objectives that are going to give me points. All right. I also can afford to go with ships that have black dice, so I'll go with an ISD and a Vic 1. Now I could add more ships than this. I could add another Vic 1. I could add 4 ships, but then I wouldn't have any squadron defense. So I'm going to do a little bit of squadrons, and I'm going to also do a little bit of ship-based squadron defense. So I'm going to try a new trick I learned recently with Valen, Rudor, and some Lambdas. So I'm going to have Valen and 2 Lambdas and a TIE fighter, just a regular TIE. I could go with 3 Lambdas, but I want to save the points. But either way, but Valen and Lambdas are really good because his ability will allow the Lambdas to still stop him from being shot, and he's got the 3 anti-squadron black dice, which is really strong, and Lambdas are actually decent against squadrons because you're pretty likely to get at least 1 damage, possibly 2, so I would rather have the Lambdas shooting than even a TIE fighter against most targets, but we'll see. And this is so I have 4 squadrons. 4 is okay. It's enough of a deterrent. And also I'm going to configure this particular victory as the Warlord, and Warlord is going to give me the ability to, change accuracies to a hit, which is good if I'm doing anti-squadron fire. It's also good if I get a red die with an accuracy, I can make it a double hit. But I want to do some more things with that. Now H9s is very good with that. But I'm thinking of using dual turbo laser turret, and I want to add Callus. So now I have, okay, because if I have to go up against maybe an enemy squadron that I really wanted to use Callus for, and then need to add an extra die, I have a lot of extra options when being able to roll dice against squadrons here. Even though the dual turbo laser turret is a one shot, it's still pretty cool. Now I could also add quad laser turrets here for the counter, and that would still be another attack, and then potentially Callus and then Warlord and everything else will trigger off of that. But I don't know if I'll have the points left over for it because I still have an ISD that I want to kit out a little bit. So with the ISD, I have a couple of options. I could go dual turbo laser turret if I want to go cheaper, or I could go a little more expensive. XI7s is generally always good, and I would definitely want gunnery team here. And now I'm at 386, so I have some points that I can play around with. I probably wouldn't mind having interdictor over here on this thing, so I can G8 twice if I need to. And I've got a little bit of extra room. I could probably upgrade this to a 3rd Lambda now. That gives me 396. So I've got a few more points. And there's definitely some options and things that we can do here. So I think what I'll do is I could put sensor team in there if I wanted to. I don't know if I want to do that. I don't really have that many points. So let's see. What else can we do? We could put relentless on there. That would fit, but I don't like relentless. I never used it. So I think we're about. Oh, we could do with Titus. You know what? Titus is actually a pretty good fit for the remaining points. So that's 398. Or I could even upgrade a squadron to something a little bit more dangerous. Let's see if we take Titus away. Maybe I drop the XI7s on this guy. I'm having a brilliant idea here. I'm going to drop that down to a dual turbo laser. Okay, and now I've got 5 extra points, and with those 5 and this guy, I could potentially add advanced assault proton torpedoes. And there we go. So now I've made this guy a pretty nasty threat. I mean, this guy pretty nasty. Although, I mean, this isn't really. There's some wiggle room. I could drop both of these assault proton torpedoes actually, and we can upgrade both of the or upgrade the turbo lasers here. I think maybe XI7s will work a little better. Now I've got a lot of points on this guy, and maybe here we'll go with H9s. H9s tends to be a little better sometimes. So there's that as well, and H9 does kind of guarantee that my blue die will, between Warlord and H9, I'll guarantee to at least roll a hit on every die I roll if it's a blue die, if it's one blue die. So that kind of guarantees a hit on every squadron in an arc. So that'll keep squadrons away from this guy. But now let's talk about the objectives, and I'm at 399 here, and there's some other things we could do if you wanted to change that up, but there's some versatility there. But or I could potentially drop some upgrades and upgrade this to an ISD-2, but then ISD-2 would be kind of naked, so I don't necessarily want to do that. But let's look at the objectives. Now, I definitely want to go with Station Assault. Station Assault, I think, would be a really fun one that'll really take advantage of the interdictor. The interdictor's grab shift reroute, I can move the stations in a little bit and have them really, really, really far away from my opponent, and then I can just slow play, fly, start out of a speed 1, say, come get me. I put both the stations right here. You're going to have to go through me to blow them up. And that's, and chances are that we're going to be so far away that I can potentially get them all the way on my side of the board. It'll probably be turn 5 or 6 before my opponent even gets a shot. They're going to have to come in really fast. And if they come in too fast, I can use Konstantine to speed them up and make them fly off the board. So, that's always it's really, really fun. And so I can have fun with that. And plus, I do have a lot of firepower. And if they do come in close to me, I've got a lot of, I've got the shorter range versions of all of these ships, but they're very, very potent if you can get your enemy ships in range. So that's what I'm hoping for there. Now, for the yellow objective, I am thinking about going with, which one was I going to go with? I was thinking of going with fire lanes. Yes, this is the one that has objective tokens, because I've got 3, you can do 2 or 3 strategic ships here. And then now I can move the tokens even closer to me, and I should be able to move them very, very quickly and completely get all of them out of my opponent's reach. I can even put them all behind my ships and just have the rear arcs, and they'll be way out of opponent's reach. So that'll be 45 points per turn for me that my opponent probably won't ever have access to, and I can just keep moving them around, and that's just raw points for me right there. See, like, this isn't a build where I have to blow up all of your ships. I can just play slow and defensive and make you come to me, and that's really the beauty of it. And then for the blue objectives, I think I'm going to go with Salvage Run here. Salvage Run is a new, kind of a one I haven't really run before, but there was recently a contest on the FFG forums, and it worked out really well as far as the explanation for it, and really I think it's going to combo really, really well with grav shift reroute and being able to just put all those extra obstacles on the board, put them in front of your opponent, and kind of force them to come to you. So that's that could potentially be just awesome. And then somebody's got to come to me. I can fly my lambdas in there, move the objectives closer to myself, and then I can also just kind of park in front of the station or behind the station and wait for you to come in to try to get them. And it's just all of these are really maximizing what I have in this build. So yeah, that's it. I'm at 399. If you wanted an extra point, you could, we could probably take one of these guys and put a medical team somewhere. Or if you want to have a slight initiative bids and maybe ensure that you're second player. Or maybe if your opponent happens to have, something like strategic or if you just want to pick the objective from your opponents, if you want to be first player, you could go with this also. But I think this is a build that kind of works best as second player, because every objective can almost guarantee you a ton of points, and this is all about points. So let me know what you think, guys. Konstantine, can his strength be in the points ability and the points denial of your opponent? But this should be a fun build. I normally don't like to only run 3 ships. So there's probably some ways that we could probably drop this down to just victories, and there's probably other ways to run something like this, maybe just 1 interdictor and 3 victories. But I wanted to have the Warlord out there, and I have the strong anti-squadron presence. or at least a moderate anti-squadron presence, because between this guy and these people over here, we should be able to do pretty well against enemy squadrons. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like, and let me know if you think this is a decent build, or if you would fly it differently. And as always, if you haven't already, please subscribe and click the little bell to get alerts whenever I put up new content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.